Hey everybody, welcome to Story Time. Today, in honor of Cinco de Mayo, we are going to be reading a book called Let Me Help. Quiero ayudar. It is about a parrot who wants to help his human family prepare for Cinco de Mayo. So let's find out what happens. But before we do, I just want to let you know one thing is the word barge. I don't know if anybody out there knows what a barge is, but a barge is a big flat boat that goes very slowly and is used usually to carry big, heavy things. Not really people, but in San Antonio, which is in Texas, it's a state in central, southern United States that borders, meaning that it touches Mexico. There is a large Mexican population. And so Cinco de Mayo is a very big celebration there. And in San Antonio, Texas, they have a river, the San Antonio River. And it's a tradition that a lot of families rent a barge, this big flat boat, and they decorate it. And they kind of have like a parade on the river to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Okay. So I want to make sure that you know what a barge is so that when you hear it in the story, you understand what they're talking about. All right, enjoy the story, and I'll see you back in a few minutes. Let's find out what happens to Perico the parrot. Let Me Help. Quiero ayudar. By Alma Flor Ada, illustrated by Ángela Domínguez. Everyone was very busy, running and rushing, preparing for the Cinco de Mayo celebration. The children were particularly excited. The family had rented a barge and they were planning to have a picnic on the San Antonio River. Wonderful smells came from the kitchen. Music filled the house, inviting feet to tap to its rhythm, and bright paper flowers and shiny ribbons were scattered everywhere. So it was not surprising that Elena forgot to close Perico's cage door after she fed him. Look, Mommy, Perico wants to be part of Cinco de Mayo too, said Marita when she saw the parrot flapping about in the kitchen. Perico was indeed fascinated by all the movement in the kitchen. Making tamales seemed to be something he could take part in. He loved tamales. Surely he could help make them. Let me help, Perico cried. It was a sentence he had learned recently. Little Marita was always asking to be allowed to help, but Abuela and Tia Lupe didn't think that Perico could help. Perico, go away, let us work, they cried, moving their arms wildly to shoo him away. Elena and her mother were in the living room making flowers with multicolored tissue paper. The festive flowers reminded Perico of the bright colors of the rainforest. He should certainly be able to help make the colorful flowers. Let me help, Perico cried. But Mama and Elena did not agree. Perico, go away, let us work, they said, and pushed him away. Lupita and Carmen were in their room dressing up for the folklorico dance performance. The bright ribbons that Tia Alicia was braiding into the girls' hair reminded Perico of jungle butterflies fluttering about like winged flowers. Surely Perico could help them get ready. Let me help, Perico cried. But Tia Alicia wanted to concentrate on what she was doing. Perico, go away, let me work, she shouted at him. Antonio and Francisco were on the porch practicing their trumpets for their mariachi number. The sound reminded Perico of the cries of toucans. Surely he could help them practice. Let me help, he cried. But Antonio and Francisco didn't want any noise while they were practicing. Perico, go away. Let us practice, they replied impatiently. Perico flew off the porch and down the street. What a wonderful smell was coming from the bakery. Don Martin was baking batches upon batches of pan dulce. Let me help, Perico cried. Go away, cried Don Martin, very upset. He did not want a parrot in his busy bakery, nor feathers on his pan dulce. Perico flew over the city. Everywhere he looked, people were celebrating. Along the river, people floated by on beautifully decorated barges. It was as if all the flowers of the jungle were floating down the river. Fascinated, Perico decided to perch on a bridge and watch. Just then, Perico saw his family's barge moving gracefully down the river. It was larger and taller than any other barge, but its topmost decoration was too high to pass underneath the bridge. It hit the arch and fell down into the water. Oh, what a shame, our beautiful barge, Perico's family cried. Perico looked at the barge. This was his chance to help. Perico flew down and perched on top of the flowers that crowned the gaily decorated barge. He looked quite perfect there. Marita cried, Mama, look, Perico found a way to help. Mama and Abuela, Antonio and Francisco, Lupe and Carmen, and Tia Lupe and Tia Alicia all looked up. Hooray, bravo, they cheered. Perico just nodded, swaying to the music of the mariachi band as the barge sailed slowly and gracefully by. He had finally found the perfect way to help. It wasn't by trying to do what others could do, but by doing what no one else could. And he did it by being himself, his wonderful self. All right, everybody. So Perico really wanted to help, didn't he? He did. And now, why did he keep on repeating, let me help, let me help? Yes, number one, because he wanted to help. But where did he learn that from? So, what do we know about parrots? We know that parrots repeat what they hear humans saying, right? So, Marita was a girl and she would always say that to her family, let me help, let me help. And often kids do, right? Do you ever say that to adults in your house? Oh, let me help. You want to do what they're doing. Maybe it's cooking or maybe it's building something, right? And sometimes they say yes and sometimes they say no. I know I've said to my kids, sometimes the best way to help is to just watch, right? Just watch and learn, maybe not by doing. And we sort of see that in here, that Perico wants to help, wants to help. He learned the phrase from Marita because she's always saying it in her house. And now he's the one that wants to help, wants to help. But they don't really want his help. That's not the kind of help that they need from him. But it turns out in the end, he is able to help, but only in his way. And the great thing is that he did it in a way that only Perico could have done. So we learned that he could help by being himself and not trying to be like anyone besides himself. So I hope everybody enjoyed the book. I will see you tomorrow and happy Cinco de Mayo. Adios.